Unless you have been living under a rock, it is extremely safe to say that almost everyone has heard about the infamous Amber Heard. From the global viewing of the court case that happened earlier this year between Miss Heard and Mr. Depp, it begs the question of, what shaped Amber Heard to who she is today? In this spicy video, we'll be deep diving into her background, from her early childhood to her teenage years and finally her adulthood. Stay gripped to your screen as after this video, you'll be able to fully understand why her story is kind of unusual and troubled. Let's start from the absolute beginning in 1986. Amber Laura Heard, born on the 22nd of April in 1986 in Austin, Texas, by loving mother Patricia Page and supporting father David Clinton Heard. Patricia Page was an internet researcher whilst David Heard was an entrepreneur who owned a small construction company. Besides having two healthy and intelligent parents, Amber Heard also has a younger sister, Whitney Heard. Imagine spending your pastimes after school riding horses, hunting, and fishing with good old Papa Heard. Besides these relaxing outdoor adventures, Amber Heard also participated in multiple beauty pageants up until she reached 16, when she ultimately realized her inner hatred for the objectification of women. Other than this, Amber Heard's earlier life was great. Life was amazing, and of course life was going to take a tumble in Amber Heard's teenage years when her best friend died in a car crash. Until this tragic accident, Amber Heard was a good old faithful Christian born and raised in Texas. However, as soon as her best friend's soul was taken away from her, so was her religious attire as she began to identify as an atheist. In all fairness, if your best friend died in a car crash in front of your eyes, it would definitely make you think of life in another light, wouldn't it? Not too long after did Amber Heard drop out of her extremely Catholic high school to pursue a modeling career in New York City, before moving in the heart of Los Angeles in hopes of becoming an actress. Of course, as an intellect, she ended up earning her high school diploma through a home study course where she didn't need to face the terrors of religion or the heartbreaks of being reminded of her best friend's death. Fast forward to the early 2000s, where Amber Heard's first acting gig started at the young age of 17. With a rough upbringing of losing her best friend, there is no doubt to state that Amber Heard's teenage years were hard, especially because she dropped out of high school as well. Back then, it was extremely hard to secure a job and even harder to make it in the world as an actress. Fortunately enough, Amber Heard was given the opportunity to appear in 2 music videos. First off, in the heartwarming and emotional track by Kenny Chesney, Amber Heard appears in There Goes My Life. Perhaps it was a subtle way to describe Amber Heard's future, or perhaps it was just a simple gig that Amber Heard needed to get by. Amber Heard was also in Isley's video, I Wasn't Prepared. Coincidentally enough, due to a few hiccups between the band members, the producers, and Amber Heard, the band ended up creating 2 music videos, one with a lot more of the band and of course the other one with more of Amber Heard. The band wasn't prepared for this, but the producers knew how to gain views, and they swiftly capitalized the face of Amber Heard regardless of what the band thought. Besides Amber Heard's appearances in these music videos, she also starred as a supporting actress in a few well-known TV shows such as Jack and Bobby, The Mountain, and even The OC. As you can probably tell, Amber Heard needed to get her foot into the door and she was doing everything she could to get it started. However, it wasn't until she was finally casted in Friday Night Lights as the gorgeous Maria. Her drive to succeed alongside her blonde locks of hair and gorgeous face put her in the spotlight as her main scene required her to hook up with one of the characters. Although the scene itself wasn't too long, it was effective in defining Amber Heard's path in the film industry. This scene was short enough that the viewers wanted to watch it over again, but punchy enough to deliver the best results. Not long after, she was casted as a guest in one of the world's best police crime drama shows, Criminal Minds. Spoiler alert, this blonde bombshell plays as Dr. Reed's love interest, Lila Archer, who was also the item of affection for the stalker in the same episode. Fortunately for Amber Heard, her multiple appearances in these shows propelled her success into securing her first leading role in the film All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. With a budget of a mere $750,000, the American slasher All the Boys Love Mandy Lane ended up receiving just under $1.9 million at the box office. Considering Amber Heard's previous appearance in shows, this film was her opportunity to showcase her acting range alongside her usual beauty. From here, it's safe to say that the name Amber Heard brought attention across the world, as this film premiered at multiple film festivals such as the Toronto International Film Festival, Sitges Film Festival, and London Fright Fest Film Festival in the early 2000s. Sliding into 2007, Amber Heard was also cast as Greta Matthews, the love interest in the TV teen drama Hidden Palms. With a mere 8 episodes over 1 season, there is no wonder why it scored 42% on Rotten Tomatoes. Segueing into her relationship status. Between films and across 2008 and 2012, Amber dated Tasia Van Ree, an American painter and photographer. In these short years, Amber wanted to highlight the fact that she was a bisexual and an activist towards the same-sex relationships and marriage. Although her intentions were of goodwill, the media didn't take it too well as more negative feedback came about. The barrage of negative reviews didn't stop there. In her films in the early to mid-2010s, she was shunned immensely by film critics, audiences, and even colleagues. Amber Heard's first film release of Drive Angry in 2011 was a supernatural action thriller. Although being casted alongside Nicolas Cage, the film received a multitude of negative reviews due to her performance or lack thereof. Fast forward to 2015, where Amber Heard plays as the female lead in London Fields. She was also reviewed negatively as the clairvoyant in this film. It can be easily argued that it wasn't until 2017 where she starred as the Mera, the princess and love interest in DC's Aquaman. With DC's large fan base alongside co-starring with Jason Momoa, Willem Dafoe, and Patrick Wilson, it was no surprise that this film did quite well in comparison to Amber Heard's previous films. Unfortunately, in the past few years, there was a Charge.org petition that reached over 2 million signatures to remove Amber Heard as the love interest in Aquaman 2. This was because of the allegations and, from what we know now, the conviction of how Amber Heard's off-screen personality was more than what met our eyes. Although Amber Heard is widely known as a gorgeous girl who has taken the eyes of a multitude of audiences across her almost 2 decades of acting, the negative reviews of each film can easily be seen as a foreshadowing of who Amber Heard truly was. In the trial that was broadcasted across the world between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, she was convicted of defaming her ex-husband in a 2018 op-ed published in the Washington Post. In this trial, there was mountains of evidence proclaiming how Amber Heard used fake sexual violence allegations against Johnny Depp in parallel with fake witnesses and fake proof. With Amber Heard's early upbringing full of distraught events, alongside the constant barrage of negative reviews and feedback from the mass film audiences, it's easy to proclaim how full of obstacles and disappointments Amber Heard's life has been to date. At the moment, the best thing we can wish to Amber is to get the help she needs, work on herself to resolve her obvious problems, and make peace with her past.